everybody, and welcome to the Meeting Gold show. We're joined by Eva Alhaddad today. Did I say it right?
Mm-hmm.
I did?
Yes.
And Eva, is this your first podcast?
Yes, it is.
Eva was at Wayne Gretzky telling me about the food there, and now you got me hungry. I've only eaten cereal today. But with that being said, you guys don't care. We want to get into your life, how you got into real estate, but more importantly, the things you learned along the way, so we can teach our listeners a little about entrepreneurship, running your own thing, and being successful, because you do a lot of work. I see your signs everywhere. Your face is literally everywhere.
I try.
You try. Okay, well, Eva, give us a little background, like 30 seconds, what you do, what you're doing now, just a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a Brock University graduate. I actually finished a degree in business and business administration. Also specialized in marketing a little bit. I do have a computer science background as well. Yeah, I used to create software.
Did
Not
you code?
anymore. I did.
Like, are you still decent at it?
No, when you don't use it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah, so I actually didn't I was going to go through that direction, but then I thought I don't want to sit in front of my computer for that long. So then went to business, finished that up, and right away I joined real estate. Actually was fascinated by, had a group of realtors that I met, and they were telling me how they do business, and I liked it, and I got it from there.
Yeah. So was it like growing up, was it a plan for you at all? Like, did you even think or consider real estate?
Never. No, I actually was in investment banking and finance industry before. And I worked with the investors group at the same time when I came here to Canada. Yeah.
So for those who don't know, my dad works at Investors Group. Is that how you guys know each other?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I worked there as an assistant to one of the financial advisors. And then after that, I thought, you know what, either I can go to mutual fund and finance, or I want to join real estate. And I was attracted to more real estate because I can meet more people and different environment every time. And I kind of changed that.
I like that a lot. I was going to ask you, I kind of have a biased view because I grew up with a father who was in financial planning, but I like to consider real estate as well, just in the sense that they're kind of similar industries in the sense that how you sell, how you market is very similar. Like, everything's the same. Yeah. It's just different, I guess, a different process, right? So, how did finance differ from real estate for you? What was the attracting factors? Like you said, change a little bit. Was that your main reason?
Yeah, I just, like I said to you, I didn't like the 9 to 5 kind of thing, and I didn't want to sit in front of my laptop just monitoring and doing a lot of paperwork.
Right.
I'm still doing only both of that anyway. But in addition, I get to be in a different location every day and meet different people, drive around and, see houses and things like that.
It's definitely fun, eh? Because I think, especially with the amount of ends you do and the people that you work with, you're able to get a little bit of different situations and different challenges. It's not all the same. I can see 100%. Where finance might get a little bit more repetitive because you're at the office closing a deal. You don't have to necessarily meet a person at their house every single time, right? So it gets a little bit the same.
I like that about it, that you finish at 5 o'clock and then basically you're done for the rest of the evening. For us, it's 24 hours. You're basically connected to your phone. Whenever work comes, you have to serve it and you have to do your best. Yeah. So you're more connected to the business. They feel comparison to
fair. Yeah. I agree. Now, did you ever consider product or service-based business? Why did you choose service-based?
Actually, before I joined real estate, I met a person that they thought I'm more personable. I like people and I have more connection to people. So for me to serve client was that's the winner part for me that attracted me to it as well. But I never actually was in sales before. I was more in services, so I continued being.
You just continued. Okay, gotcha. Now, growing up, 10-year-old Eva, did you have any ideas of what you wanted to do? Was there any dreams that you had? that you wanted to accomplish? Like, what was it like for you at a super young age?
I always told my dad, I want to be a business owner and I want to be a businesswoman. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to own my business and that's what I'm going to do. But, and, uh, and I saw them myself like being independent, and I always like to be that way. But at the same time, this, I felt like real estate was more giving me that option at the same time, but you still belong to, a community.
You were just telling me you were at Wayne Gretzky with some of the girls from the brokerage. Is that?
Yeah.
So you guys all get together every once a month, or?
We do like I call it pretty realtors meeting. So we do a meeting every month. We all face challenges, and we also all want to improve and see how we are doing, like what can we do better to serve our clients. So we do kind of meeting every month, and we discuss like difficult issues, better ways to improve, and also new trends and the market current situation, it's
right.
very
it changes
changing.
Every single
Yeah.
day. Yeah, especially with recently, right?
Yeah.
Now, how important was it for you, like meeting these women? How long have you been in real estate for? Sorry.
This is my 5th year.
5th year. So you're making your way to more of a veteran in a sense. I would think like 10 years is like more like veteran, but 5 years, you definitely know your stuff. But early on, like first 1-2 years, how crucial was it for you to meet people like that? Were you a part of something like that? Did you seek out opportunities to be a part of something like that?
You have to definitely have some way of mentorship or some way of someone backing you up, because you never can run to every situation in the same time. And every day with real estate is different challenge, different situation, different clientele, mentality, problems, properties. Every property is unique, right? So I am so glad, like with my brokerage, I had a lot of backup to me, and I had a lot of people that I go to with challenging situations. But yeah, actually meeting the girls right now and the other realtors, it's really helping us. Like
just keeping in touch and staying connected.
Yeah.
So what did you do like in your first couple years to like build relationships in real estate? Because like, did you utilize some of them prior to being in real estate when you got into real estate, or was it more just like cold turkey going in, not really knowing many people? What was it like for you?
For me, it was actually different, because I had met people from real estate before I joined, and I used to go to Remax parties to every year and meet those people, and they were the people that actually brought the idea in my mind, why don't you join real estate? And fast forward 9 months after I came back, I'm like, I have my real estate license.
Right. So sorry. So yeah. So is it 9 months to get your license?
Well, depends. I was like just graduated from Brock University, so I didn't have to work at the time. I didn't have a job, so I was concentrating on taking the courses one by one, and as much as you can squeeze it, that was like the shortest I think you could do.
Right. I think because you can kind of stretch it out as much as you want, right?
Mainly a year, and like 12 months.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So did anything, because it seems like you were pretty heavily involved in school growing up.
Yeah.
Did school prepare you for getting into real estate? Maybe some of it. Like, what were some of the things that it helped you with? Maybe some of the things that it didn't, or did it not at all? Yeah, it's okay. You could talk. We could dish school, or we could praise it. Whatever it is.
So one thing about my situation is different. I was in university back home, and then when I came here, I actually had to repeat the courses. So knowing them in a different language obviously taught me a lot of terminologies and things like that, and prepared me to the way the business is done here. But at the same time, it benefits, and most of it not really.
Yeah,
if you don't use anything, if you're not specializing in anything, I doubt anybody remember everything the book says.
Right. So do you have a tendency of maybe like for somebody that's in school, maybe, you know, not necessarily knowing exactly what they want to do, would you recommend shoot for it for school? Or would you maybe say, take a year off, figure out what you want to do, and then specialize in something? Like what would you have done different, I guess?
I think it's a good way is to kind of get multiple courses and see where you lean towards. I think for me, I didn't have the option because I already had some credits, but I knew what I wanted to be. But for someone that doesn't know, I think taking courses, and that's the beauty of the first year.
Yeah.
You get to experience every kind of department in a simpler way and see if this is for you. But also, yeah, I think that's the best way I will go about it. Try multiple courses to see what you're leaning towards, because this is going to carry with you, you know, into the future.
Yeah, like I guess if you're going to pay for school, your parents are going to pay for school, whatever it is, may as well make it a little bit worth it, right? Like don't just go to it, party, whatever, and not really get anything out of it.
You get out of it as much as you want to.
That's fair.
And the best thing I find it is applying what you're learning to real life in order to link them together. Otherwise, it's just boring information, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because I, like, going through high school, I can't even say going through university, but going through high school, I would always kind of think, like, what's the point? And it was hard for me to kind of link things together. But I think, you know, meeting the people inside of high school really assisted me in getting my business to where it is today, in the sense that maybe, you know, they didn't become clients because everybody's still 18, but in the sense that I got to know more people, and that never hurts. Being able to cultivate relationships, being able to meet new people. Did university maybe help you with that?
Oh, yeah, I understood now what you mean. But yeah, 100%. When you start in real estate, you got to start with your sphere of influence and like, you know, the surrounding people of you, and university people, university friends, I mean, and then the people you got to know, 100% benefit you in the beginning.
Right. Now, okay, let's go back to 10-year-old Eva. So when growing up, did you have like father, mother? Like, how did you grow up?
I grew up with my father. They were separated.
Gotcha. And so what were some of the things that your father maybe taught you to this day that you still remember, like some sphere of like influence or mindset that really helps you to this day?
Work ethic, I feel. My dad is like very committed to his work. Even he owned a business, but he's the first to show up and the last one to leave. He goes to he used to be, he passed away, but he used
Sorry to hear that.
No problem. So he used to go like 2 shifts, although he could like skip any, but showing up to work and be there for what you need to do, right, and do it right. That's
so. I guess now coming in 5 years in real estate, then understanding work ethic, working hard, seeing it from your father. What are you doing now, I guess, to really build relationships with new realtors coming in? Are you trying to teach them the same work ethic? Because it's clear that you have that same work ethic from your father, because you learned that from him and you acted to this day. I mean, your face wouldn't be plastered all over Niagara if it wasn't for it, right? But no, like, are you in the stage right now of your life where you're meeting new realtors and kind of mentoring them a little bit, or?
Well, we all learn from each other because everything, again, is different situation. I happen to have a recent experience with mentorship. It didn't go well, unfortunately, but at the same time, I don't mind. I will help anybody that comes to me, because we're all in that situation and we all see different scenarios. So I don't mind being like, obviously, a source for someone for advice or backup, or, you know. Right.
And so I noticed on your social media, with the way that you market. Yeah, I did a little bit of stalking. Oh, no. No, it's okay. I didn't go deep. But when I was looking at your social media, I kind of noticed you do a good job at maneuvering through lifestyle and real estate.
Yeah.
And I think that's really smart. You whether it's photos, maybe reels, short videos, whatever it is, but also photos of, you know, the home that you sold, or a certain situation or a holiday or whatever it is. Was that an idea to start with? Did you learn that from somebody? Like, where did you kind of get that from? To know lifestyle and social media mixed together? And does it work for you?
Actually, real estate itself is a lifestyle. It's not something you do on a certain hour. So that's my life, and when I'm like showing that on social media, it is my life. I go meet people, I go to support local businesses, I go visit the properties, I post on my sales. But this is my life. Like, I don't stage for it. This is what's happening. So to me, obviously, my appearance on social media and what I post about is what I'm doing, and to see people see where I am and what I'm doing, and kind of also if I'm supporting a business, they can maybe benefit from that.
Right. I guess the value in like learning to brand personally, like it sounds like you would agree then that real estate is you're selling you.
Yeah, of course.
Gotcha. Okay. So what were some of the things like starting out when maybe you didn't have, I always say this because like new real estate agents, when they get into the business, a lot of them on average, not saying all, but a lot of them don't have the money to start paying for marketing or whatever it is, like billboards or videos or that kind of thing. What were some of the things that you kind of did starting out to help grow your business? Was it like talking to new people? What was it like for you?
Events.
Events.
I always go to events, and I actually met my first client in after I got my license of like maybe 2 weeks. I met them in an event, and those clients were like, obviously I still love them and all of that. They were the one that knew my situation, believed in me, and trusted me, and they gave me their business. And I felt like since then, personalized meeting face to face with people, we're all like, not on the phone all the time. I still think meeting face to face is number one selling.
I could not agree more. I mean, meeting new people, a handshake and a look in the eye and saying hello will always be better than a Zoom call any day of the week.
100%. 100%. There is more emotions with eye contact, and you can tell who's the person in front of you and all of that.
Right, just by literally. You know who is in front of you by meeting them rather than just over a Zoom call. You understand them as a person, and emotionally, I mean it all goes down to emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
So like I guess that kind of goes into like reading people, dealing with people. What are some of the bigger challenges in real estate that maybe some people can expect when getting into it, or maybe some of the challenges that you're facing now that maybe you're working towards trying to make easier or more efficient?
Challenges is obviously you're dealing with a big transaction, big value transaction. People save their entire life to make something like that. You want to make sure that the service you're providing them is
solid.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put just my money in somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. Right? So I guess gaining the trust from the client and the client to trust you to do that with you, it's a big deal. So I feel like this is a lot of the challenge for people, newer realtors who's like not experienced in that regard. Obviously experience matter, but yeah, people trusting you is the most important part of
life in general, honestly though, because like we said before, right? I mean, real estate is your personal brand. It's you, right? And I mean, I guess if you don't want to embrace that, then like it's going to be hard to grow, right? As a realtor, like it's going to be hard to grow in any business if you don't embrace the fact that a lot of it is based on the people that you know, right? New relationships.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you're still doing to this day to kind of build new relationships? I mean, because you probably have a pretty big circle, but like even to expand further, like what are some of the things that you do to like, I guess, expand those?
I still would say I like events.
Yeah.
And I try to, as much as I can, go and meet people in person. And that's basically my main. And doing open houses. A lot of people like they go to open houses, they meet you in person, and they decide if they want to work with you or not. But being in open houses, you're basically going there, answering people questions. Those people are interested in buying. I felt like that was the most
beneficial for you.
Now that kind of affected by COVID, and no one was doing open houses, events as well. So thank God I have referrals, and people who know me, who dealt with me, they will refer business to me. And I specialize in certain areas, others don't. So I still get, even like from my colleagues, some referrals as well.
That's right. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. Let's go back a little bit to your finance background. That must have helped you like a ridiculous amount when you got into real estate, right? Like just understanding money, understanding like what were some of the things that you were working on before getting into real estate, more specifically, that kind of helped you get into real estate, a little bit more knowledge than the other new realtor that was coming in?
I guess kind of understanding where people save and what people's plans for the future. Believe me, when I joined in the investors group, I was shocked that there's so much avenues and ways of you planning and budgeting your money that I didn't even realize. But that helped me in understanding, to be honest, value of money and what can you do with your money. Is this the best way to spend your money or not? Is it better for you to kind of put it in real estate or like go that way? This is the kind of advantage I got from both. Right.
And so I guess did it kind of help teach you? Because I think like a big misconception for people when it comes down like real estate or the stock market, that's literally the biggest. That's what everybody wants to like argue about all the time. Realtors versus financial planners, real estate versus stock market or stockbrokers in general, right? But I think you can do both. Like, you know what I mean? So I guess like using your finance background and what you know about real estate, you've seen both pieces of the pie. Like you've seen both sides.
Yeah.
So would you agree that maybe there's that in between and it just depends on your goals?
I think they go hand in hand. Like you need to diversify your portfolio as much as possible. And somebody told me that same before, like don't put your eggs in one basket kind of. So yeah, I think you should be able to invest in certain areas in stock market and also have an actual physical location like real estate for investment purposes.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like especially playing on like the each market, they don't like when real estate is down, it doesn't mean that the stock market's down, or it doesn't mean that it's up. It like they don't play on each other. I don't really think
they do in a way. Because also we're dealing with interest rate and all of that,
right?
So they do, and also if you're planning on buying your real estate through your investment, also that they go together.
Yeah.
A lot of people use some of their retirement saving to kind of put down payment to a house, which now we have access to for the first-time home buyers. I'm not sure if you heard about that.
Can you tell us about it?
So first-time home buyers can borrow from their RSPs, depending on their contribution. I think it's a $40,000, which you can borrow from your RSPs to put it as a down payment. And that's basically money you don't have to pay a lot of interest on it in the future. And that's kind of to motivate first-time home buyer and help them with the down payment. It's the biggest issue for first-time home buyer. And I think they just incorporated TFSA as well, that you can do something similar.
Really?
Yes, your dad will know about it more.
I'm surprised he hasn't told me. To be honest with you, I'm surprised he hasn't told me about that. But that's actually really, I didn't know that, right? Because you could not take your money out of an RSP prior to, I guess, just this announcement. Now, that actually makes sense, though, to help allow a little bit more flexibility to allow them to purchase a home with the money that they've been setting aside. Granted, hopefully they set aside. Now, do first-time home buyers who are maybe in their 20s, maybe early 30s, have a lot of money in their RSP? Maybe not, but at the same time, it still helps to be able to pull that money out if you do, right?
Yeah, it helps because also you contribute to that money, and that money you're saving to it. So if you're on a job, you contribute to it every year. So when you pull it, it's tax free, right? So it helps you towards, this is money you don't have to pay tax on at this moment. You can use it towards your
Yeah.
down payment. So
So what are some of the things like, because you obviously know a lot about, I guess, real estate and finance in general, and I'm not downplaying your past experiences,
right.
but you must to this day like still do some research on understanding new things that are happening, rule changes, because there's a lot of rule changes in the last couple of years than there were in the last 30 years, right?
100%.
Because they're trying to combat everything that's happened in the last couple of years. So what are some of the things that you've done or are doing now to like help educate you or keep you educated? Is it just like watching the news or?
You have to do a lot of research. We get also like our obviously real estate council and real estate in general, like office and brokerage. We get a continuous update on the market change, and they keep us in a loop on what's gonna happen, what we kind of expect in the next little bit, because everything's changing. We're in a phase that we never been in before. We're facing new things. Every day is changing. Like COVID never happened before, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're just adapting to the change that keep occurring.
Now, do you work? I looked at your bio. Do you also work in like the investment field for real estate as well?
No,
Not or
I'm a
no?
full-time real estate
Full
agent.
time real estate agent. Do you have properties of your own that you invest in, or are you really just more into assisting other people?
I did couple before, currently not, but obviously now we're coming into a new year, and I do have a few properties in
I
mind.
guess, yeah, you can never like, especially as a realtor, you always want to be looking at like you always got the inside scoop as to what is there some good deals out there that we can snag,
If I
right?
didn't find myself a good
Yeah,
a good deal, then I'm not doing my job.
yeah, exactly, right? Like, no, 100%. But okay, so I guess then, what would you kind of say to people looking to invest into properties, or just, I guess, even just residential, just buying a house for their family right now? Let's say they have two kids, husband and wife, whatever. What would you say to them if they're maybe struggling with the finances, or not even necessarily that, but just are trying to find a property in general? Because I know it's hard right now.
I think people have to first of all know their budget and know what their affordability really, what does it look like, and work with that. I know a lot of people want to be in certain location, but a lot of people forget that there is different locations for them that can offer more affordability
Right.
options, and like more space, more value for your money. I will say start somewhere. Like, doesn't matter where it is. Nobody gets there like everything they want in the beginning.
Right.
So once you put your feet in take the first step, and then you can move after that from that,
Right. So
from
so
that the
just kind of
better.
continuously growing,
Yeah.
right? Okay, gotcha. Okay, so basically the new first time home buyers try to just look for more deals. Don't ever try not to get discouraged, but at the same time, don't be afraid to dip your toes in the water, get started. You don't need to have that $20 million home right away,
No, no,
right?
no. Yeah, of course not. Once you start somewhere, you're gonna get eventually to where you
Right.
want.
Right.
But the more you're like sitting and watch the risk and not doing anything, you stay put, right?
Exactly. I guess it's like you're not growing, or sorry, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? In a
Yeah.
sense, like if you're kind of at a standstill, you're not really moving much, then you're dying. You're not growing, right? Do I agree with that? I think it's okay to stand still at some points in your life. Like, what do you think about that?
It's good to sometimes stay where you are. It's good to sometimes discover your options. It's good to take risks sometimes, because risk can come. You might take the best risk in your life that got you all what you want, but uh, if you're not sure, like, do your research, ask people. Doesn't necessarily have to be like s- jump into something you don't understand. I think that's the most important. do
Right.
your do your research and make sure you're there, your financials there. You know, if something went wrong, what's your backup plan? And yeah, take the risk.
Okay, gotcha. Well, that's actually good because I guess, there's a lot of risk in any investment that you make, right? So you just have to be willing, if you are willing to make that risk, understand that there is a solid reward at the end of the day if you do it smart, right? I mean, sometimes, right, you can get burned like anything in life, but at the same time, you've got to end up doing it. Otherwise, you're not going anywhere, right?
100%.
So Eva, as we kind of close off today, can you kind of give me a little bit of advice on maybe some of the best advice you would give to people looking to start their own business or just becoming that entrepreneur self like you were when you were 10? What would you say to them right now?
I think it's all about discipline and keeping yourself, committed to something. With business, it's always easy to give up. And it's always like, the challenges that kind of bring you down. It's how you get up and you keep going, even if you don't feel like it, will get you where you want in the future. I think once you put yourself in a good self-discipline mental state, you're gonna be just
right. So like having that self-confidence, I guess, where did you kind of get that self-confidence from to be able to be more confident in your ability to sell houses? Because I'll be honest, like it must be, at least as a new person or a new realtor, scary to sell somebody's biggest transaction of their life or help them buy the biggest transaction of their life, typically, right? Not all the time, but typically. Where does that confidence come from? Is that just through experience?
Self-confidence, that obviously experience and me asking other people and getting the knowledge before I talk about it and actually doing my research before I talk about it. But I've also always been a people person, and when I was put in an uncomfortable situation, I always forced myself to deal with it.
Like this podcast.
Like today,
Eva didn't know it was video.
No, I did not know, and yeah, I just had
it is what it is. You look great. You're good.
Big lunch, so yeah.
Well, you know what, Eva, thank you for joining us today. I have one last question.
Okay.
If you could buy a house anywhere in the world, where would you buy it and why?
Right now, I will buy here in Niagara.
Really?
Yeah.
And okay, and why?
Maybe Toronto.
Maybe
Niagara. Toronto. But I like Niagara. I actually like how the feel in Niagara. It has like a good peaceful feeling that I traveled a lot and I lived abroad and everything. But I like Niagara. It's like a homey kind of feeling to it.
I was just in New York City last week and I was asking people around the street, city or country life. And I'm surprised to hear that a lot of them said country life more than what I had initially thought would in a city. But what I'm kind of coming to realize is, there's a mix and a balance. And for whatever reason, Niagara seems to have that. Niagara seems to have a mix of city. You're an hour away from Toronto, but at the same time, it gets busy in downtown Niagara Lake. It gets busy in St. Catharines on, those nice summer days, right? In end of June, right? But at the same time, it's also a very rural area. I mean, we're considered to live in the country area where we are about 10 minutes from Niagara on the Lake, and we love it here because it's just super quiet, but at the same time, we're so close to where things are happening, being connected.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's a strategic location. Also, you're close to the U.S. borders. You have Niagara Falls, and any day you can stop by and actually look at the falls and
literally one of the 7 wonders of the world. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's crazy to think about, eh?
There's so much in this area that to see and to discover.
Yeah. No, well, that's awesome. Eva, thank you so much. Where can people reach you if they want to buy or sell a house with you?
I'm always reachable on everywhere, like social media, Eva Alhaddad, or on my cell, 289-696-1313.
Got it. We'll double that for you. Thank you so much for joining us. And to everybody listening, I hope you learned something. Make sure to comment questions down below that you want me to ask other guests like we did today with Eva. I appreciate it and all the best.
Thank you, Samuel.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's Golden Guest on the Meeting Gold podcast. If you learned something from today's episode, make sure to check out our other content on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, and YouTube. Also, make sure to leave us a follow while you're there. Thanks, and have a golden day.